and welcome to the Pip and Pin Podcast. My name is Nodecker and I'm a knitwear designer from Abbotsford, British Columbia, Canada. And this is my co-host today, Fred. Today is July 5th and it's episode 71. And it has been quite a while since I last filmed an episode, so I have lots of new things to share with you. And I'm just gonna jump right in. Yeah. So the first thing that I want to say is we have a knit along that's happening. We haven't done a knit along in a long time. And usually over the summer, I really like to knit socks. And so last year I did a 6 weeks of socks knit along. That's a bit of a tongue twister. We did a 6 weeks of socks knit along over on Ravelry last summer. And so I thought I would carry that along over to this summer as well. So it actually started on July 1st and it's going all the way until August 12th. It's being held in our Ravelry group, which is Pip and Pin. You can just search that in the groups tab of Ravelry if you aren't already a member of the group. And yeah, so any sock that you want to knit in this 6 weeks is eligible to enter for prizes. So we have a little chat thread going there in our Ravelry group. We also have a finished objects thread. That's where you will post your finished objects and where I'm going to be drawing some prizes from. As I said, you can use any sock pattern that you like, but if you do use a Pip and Pin sock pattern, we have 5 different ones right now, it does count for 2 entries. So yeah, if you have one that you've been wanting to work on, now might be the time. Also, you can use the code. We have a promotion going on for our socks all throughout the knit along. So if you use the code 6 weeks, you'll get 20% off any of our sock patterns. So that's Ocean Drive, Sprocket Socks, Bear Mountain, Camp Socks, missing one, Bloom Socks. Oh, and one thing too is there are no works in progress allowed. So if you started something, if you just so happen to started something on or after July 1st, that's great. You can go ahead and use those. If it was cast on before July 1st, unfortunately, it will not be eligible for the knit along, but you can absolutely feel free to cast on something new. All of the rules and everything will be in the Ravelry group in the chat thread. So if you have any questions or anything like that, you can go there and ask. And I'll make sure that I put a link to that chat thread down below as well. For my socks that I am knitting, I'll just show you what I cast on. I cast these on yesterday, actually. And I'm just doing a plain old vanilla sock. I have not knit a vanilla sock in a really long time. I've been doing lots of pattern socks. I've been not doing lots of textured socks. I really enjoy textured socks, like wearing them. So either a rib or some sort of like little waffle stitch or something. Yeah, I haven't knit a pair of just straight stockinette socks in a really, really long time. So this is what I am working on for the knit along. I'm using Knit Pick Stroll for the contrasting color here. I'm not sure of the colorway. One of their grays. They have lots of good grays. And then this is actually this here. And unfortunately, I don't remember who this yarn is by. I know I've had it caked up for a super long time. I've been intending to make a pair of socks with it for forever, since I got it, basically. And I know that it was a gift from a dyer in the UK. And unfortunately, I lost the ball band. I got this probably 3 or 4 years ago, so unfortunately, I don't know exactly what it is. It might be in my Ravelry stash entry, possibly. I did used to keep track of things. I don't anymore. I was looking through my project pages the other day because my husband was talking about the last sweater that I knit for him and when that was. And I was like, well, I have all my projects on Ravelry, I can just tell you. And realized that I haven't been keeping up with Ravelry at all. I think ever since like 2020 happened, that kind of just stopped. Yeah, that really took away my knitting mojo for a long time there. I feel like I'm finally like back in it, just about as much as I used to be. So very exciting times. I really hope that it continues and I continue to have stuff to show you. Yeah, because that's probably why I waited so long to podcast again. I just didn't have anything to show. I hadn't been knitting a lot. I hadn't really been doing crafts a lot. I've been working a lot. I've been definitely working on lots of different things for Pip and Pin. Knitting just wasn't really one of them, which sounds weird for a knitwear designer, but yeah, knitting kind of fell by the wayside for a bit. But now that I have some more time, I'm definitely have lots of new things coming up soon. One of them is a finished object, and it is this guy here. I'll stand up so you can see it a little bit. If this pattern looks a little familiar, that is because it is the sprocket sock pattern. There's also the sprocket hat, and now I've finally done the sprocket sweater. So it has this beautiful color work yoke, and then just a plain kind of stockinette straight body, and long sleeves there. We have a folded hem. So this is actually knit with smaller needles, and it's doubled and folded over. It does take a lot longer to do that, if I'm being honest. And I have it also on the collar, and then as well on the hem. The reason I wanted to do something like a folded hem for this sweater is honestly my 1x1 rib in fingering weight yarn it's just not the neatest. So I wanted to try and find a different kind of way to do it. This is a pattern. This will be a pattern released probably, it's getting tested right now. So probably sometime early fall is when this pattern will be released. And there are modifications in there if you want to switch up the color as well. I know that's not really for everybody, but I feel like it just gives a really nice, clean finish. One thing that I had with this when I was knitting this sweater is I did have some issues, quite a few. I always do. If you follow me on Instagram, you will always see me doing sweater surgery and ripping things out and doing all sorts of crazy things with my knits. This one in particular, what did I have to do with this one? I did cut it in half at one point and add 4 inches to it. I added a bunch of length, but I didn't want to redo the bottom hem because it's folded and it took a really long time to do. So I didn't want to redo that. So I actually just cut the whole bottom off, knit 4 more inches, and then seamed it back together. And I seem to be doing that a lot with my sweaters. I just can't find that right length. And I feel like with this one, it was because I didn't have pants. I still don't really have the right pants for it. Like, you know, some sweaters just need the right bottoms to go with them. And I just went through a bout of like every single pair of jeans that I owned broke while I was on vacation. So that was fun. I had 2 pairs of jeans that I brought with me, and both of them blew out at different places while we were on vacation. Luckily, it was just on the last pair lasted me until the last day, and it's a really short flight from where we were. So I was able to it was fine. It was all right. It was just like, you know, where your inner thighs kind of meet. That's always the part that goes for me. So I just kind of kept my legs crossed. It was fine. Nobody knew the difference. But I did. And then I had no pants, and now I still don't have any pants. Anyways, sorry about pants rant. But one thing too that happened with this sweater is I was unsure of it because what happened was my gauge swatch lied, as it usually does, and what I had wanted originally was kind of a bit of an oversized sweatshirty comfy thing, because that's generally the style that I like to wear the most. And I guess I was knitting, how would that have worked? I guess I ended up being a tighter knitter in my sweater, which is weird. Usually it loosens up as I knit, but anyways, the sweater ended up being about a size and a half too small. Too small from what I wanted it to be. And So I finished it and then I was thinking about like maybe someone else could model it for the pattern pictures because I wanted it to, you know, I just kind of wanted it to fit a different way. Every time I tried it on with the pants that I have now, which are, I literally have one pair of pants right now and they're skinny jeans. And it is quite a bit fitted. I think at the moment it has no ease at the bust at all. And generally I do about 4 to 6 inches on myself for a comfortable fit, and even more if I want it like oversized. But this one has no ease. So it's a little slimmer fit than I am used to. But then I tried it on with a pair of kind of looser shorts, and the tighter sweater actually looks really nice with kind of pants with more room in them. So I just feel like I need different pants, not skinny jeans to go with my skinny sweater. I just need a fitted sweater with bigger pants to kind of balance it out a little bit. But yeah, I ended up totally changing my mind about it. I finished it. I had like 4 ends to weave in that I didn't do for 2 months. And just because I wasn't, you know, I wasn't super happy with the size. So I didn't feel a lot of need to finish it because I didn't really want to wear it anyways. And then I put it away for, yeah, like 2 months. And then one day I finally was like, oh, okay, I should weave those ends in. I wove them in, I tried it on, and I was wearing, you know, those shorts. And I was like, oh, like, all right, this is different, but I like it. So now I really love it. Yeah, not to say that I didn't love it before, I just didn't love the way that it fit on me. So yeah, all in all, long story of my sprocket sweater. I guess you would like to know the yarns, maybe. The light gray here, this is Leo and Roxy Basics, which is a very affordable yarn. And this is the color Classic Gray, I think is the colorway. And then these are just really some minis and scraps that I had. I don't know all of them. I know this red is Ancient Arts. This pinky one is Polka Dot Creek. This olive green at the bottom is Sweet Fiber. This one is Barnyard Knits, and this one is Hypothesis. So I do know the yarns, actually. Hypothesis, Barnyard, Ancient Arts, Polka Dot Creek, and Sweet Fiber. And Leo and Roxy for the rest. So yeah, I expect this pattern to be out sometime soon, sometime in the next couple months. The next finished object that I have is something that it's actually a gift for somebody. They had asked for this in the winter time, and I didn't really get around to it until a couple weeks ago when it is completely useless. And hopefully she will get some use out of it next winter. But I made an Aurora headband, which is one of my designs. And this yarn is actually, it's called Bouquet, and it is by, I have, you know what, I'll show you a skein of it because it's actually very cool. I'll just show you the whole thing, where it comes from. First I'll talk about the knit, then I'll talk about the yarn. So this is the Aurora headband. As I said, it is a pattern by me. This is the DK weight version. The pattern actually comes with instructions for 5 different weights of yarn, so you can kind of take this and use it with whatever yarn you have handy. Really great for Christmas gifts. I'm not going to put it on right this second, but it just kind of goes on around your head like a headband. Keeps your ears warm, and it has this cute little twisty crossy thing in the center. And so the yarn that I'm using came actually from our spring yarn box, which is this guy here. We do still have, I know it's summertime now, but we do still have, I think there's 3 left in the shop. And those come with, sorry, there might be some crinkle in, the yarn, which is Bramble Ridge. And this is their 8515 Superwash Merino Nylon DK. So this would be great too for like a pair of DK weight socks or something like that. It's in this beautiful blush pink. It's kind of blowing out, but it's totally blowing out. But then it has these speckles of like olive green and mustard and red and brown, and just reminded me of kind of dead flowers. which I really like. And this I did in collaboration with Megan, who is the dyer, and she made this yarn especially for these kits. So this is kind of the only place you can get it. The other things that kind of come in here are some no rinse wool wash in Bloom. So that's a very florally wool wash, which I actually washed this with, and it still smells a little bit, which is nice. And then you get a stitch marker that matches the yarn very nicely. And then some loose leaf tea from New Moon Tea Co. in their Market Fresh. And these, because it is no longer spring, these are actually on sale in our shop right now. So if you're interested, there are just a few of those left. But yeah, so that is a gift for my mother-in-law. And then I did finish a few other things, but I'm not gonna go too crazy into everything. But one thing that I do want to show you is another pattern that I was working on, which will hopefully, again, it's testing right now, so will be released at some point. But are these textured socks here. And these are made with Polka Dot Creek yarn. I can't remember the colorway, but for the this part is Polka Dot Creek, and then the tweed yarn is Knit Pick Stroll Tweed in Welly's Heather, which is kind of my go-to when I do socks. I really like using Stroll as a contrasting color because they just have all the basics for a very reasonable price. And yeah, so it just has a 2x2 ribbed cuff, and then kind of this textured rib portion down the leg and the foot, and then a ribbed heel flap, which is the comfiest heel flap that I've ever made. And then just a wedge toe in the contrasting as well. And just a really comfy, nice pair of socks. I actually made two pairs. I don't know if you can kind of see over there. They're hanging up. They're the same, actually the same yarn for the leg of it and the body of it, and then I used like light green for the contrasting, and it wasn't enough contrast for me, so I just switched. So as for what I'm working on right now, I already showed you my knit along socks. I've been kind of working on another pair of socks kind of off and on for quite some time. They're just kind of the thing that I cast on when I didn't really have anything else to work on. So they're not getting done quickly at all. They'll be done when they're done, and they're almost there. Not almost there, but then I had to cast those. It's fun. So they're not getting any more love right now. These are the Ocean Drive socks. Again, another pattern by me. Am I making anything from anyone else's pattern right now? No, I am really not. I mean, the vanilla socks aren't my pattern, but they're just vanilla socks. So yeah, these are the Ocean Drive socks. Yeah, I only have like, a stripe and a half and a toe to go, and then they will be done. The yarns, I really could not tell you. I know this one is fiddly. This blue, which I really love. I don't think I know any of the other ones. This one and this one might be Sweet Fiber, and this one might be really Leo and Roxy. I couldn't tell you. I just grabbed some from my scrap bin because that's what I like to do, and why I love scrappy socks so much, because you can just kind of grab whatever. This is actually, I would have been done these. Story time again. I would have been done these a very long time ago, except the first sock that I knit was quite tight because this little bit of color work here is done with slip stitches, and so you have floats on the inside, and if you don't do those floats loose enough, then your sock is going to be too tight. So my sock was too tight and in my mind I thought that they would be okay, and then I finished a whole sock in the wrong size, and then I realized, what is the point in making socks that do not fit? Because I have many socks that are too tight, they're slightly too tight, and I never put them on. They're okay. You know, the ones where they're just a little bit too tight, so they're a little tricky to get on in the morning, but then you wear them and they're fine? I never put those socks on. That like extra annoyance in the morning, I am not a morning person, so that little bit of inconvenience in the morning, not having it. So I just never wear those ones. So when I went to go knit the second sock, I actually knit the next size up, and they fit much, much better, and made sure that my floats were a little bit looser. So yes, these ones do fit a lot better. And then I just undid my first one, and so now I'm re-knitting my first one. So technically this is my third sock that I'm knitting. They would have been done. They'll be done sometime. They just live on my desk, and I put a row or two in every once in a while. Oh, also, one thing that I realized that I had never even thought about before. I think I don't know. I use size US 1 knitting needles to knit my socks, and I do the magic loop. That's 2.25 millimeters for fellow Canadians. I am a Canadian and I use US knitting needle sizes. It's just, the millimeters don't make sense to me. But I have a couple different size 1 knitting needles. These are the first ones that I got. They're fixed 32-inch ones. And then these are my interchangeable ones that I got. And ever since I got my interchangeable ones, I had noticed that my socks were always slightly too tight. Like, I had my formula down for my socks. I found the perfect stitches, I found the perfect yarns. Like, I knew if I did this certain thing, then my socks would fit. And then I switched needles and they stopped fitting. And for some reason in my brain, it didn't register that, hey, maybe your needles are the problem. And they were. These are both Chalgu, but my fixed, you won't be able to tell. I don't know why I'm making such a big deal out of this, but my fixed US ones are slightly bigger in diameter than my interchangeable US ones. And so that's why my socks never fit. And that's why when I started these ones, I actually cast on 64 stitches because I had figured out a long time ago that my perfect sock is actually 60 stitches. And then I switched my other needles and had to go back to 24 because it was tighter. So I cast on 64 stitches for this sock and started knitting the stockinette portion as well with my slightly bigger fixed ones. And a few rows into the stockinette, I could tell they were huge. So I instead of re-knitting the cuff, I just decreased kind of 4 stitches at the top. And so now these are 60 and they're going to be perfect. But yeah, so if you're ever having issues with gauge or things like that, like, even though these are both Chalgu needles, they are both US size 1, 2.25 millimeters, they're gonna give different results. So if you can imagine the same brand, the same materials giving different gauges, just imagine what, the same size but wood versus metal is going to do, and things like that. So yeah, the tools that you use are definitely going to affect your finished product, as I learned after like 3 years of having those interchangeables and wondering why my socks never fit. The other thing that I'm working on is kind of on hold right now just because I haven't gotten to the next part of the pattern writing yet, is a new sweater that I'm working on. And it is this guy. Is anything even attached? Nope. And this is, honestly, I love it so much. It just looks like a giant pile of dead leaves. So it is a big oversized sweater, and it's in this textured brioche. And what I have done with the fabric is I've actually, it's 2 strands of fingering weight held together. So for my main color, I'm using this, which is Fiddly Dye Works in the Gwen colorway, I believe it is. It's this beautiful, beautiful, rich orange. And then I literally just got, this is a disaster, but here is all my orange and brown and yellow and dead fall leaf colors. And I threw them all into a bucket. Sorry, that was a binder that fell. Sorry if that was loud. I just threw them all into a bucket, and I did 2 strands of the main color for the bottom and this guy. And then when I'm working on the body portion of it, I'm just switching those randomy bits of scrap yarn every row or 2 or half a row or a row and a half, or whenever I feel like switching yarns to get this kind of, like, it all has that base of that beautiful orange, and then bits and bobs of all sorts of different colors. The inside too isn't even as bad. Like, if you're looking at the edges, yeah, that's gonna take some time to weave in all those. But that's just because I added new yarns right at the edges. On the insides, like of the body, I'll show you the inside. It's actually not so bad, because these guys they're already woven in. I wove them all in as I was knitting. So I'm probably not even gonna snip them. I might snip them a little bit, but they're already woven in. They're already all good to go. And they're not gonna come undone once it's been, did I block this? Yes, I did block the body because I wanted to get an accurate gauge for when I do the math for my sleeves, because as we all know, my gauge swatches lie lots. I might also end up taking out some length. It did grow quite a bit lengthwise, so we'll see. I kind of based the measurements on my favorite sweater, which is the Harvey pullover. I knit it years and years ago, and it's still my most worn sweater, so I kind of based my measurements on that sweater, but this ended up being quite a bit longer, so we'll see. I'm gonna do the sleeves first, and then we will see what we see. But yeah, so that is going to be something eventually, and I cannot wait to wear it in the fall. It's gonna be so cozy. It's giant. It's a sweatshirt made of a ton of scraps, which I love, because I have many, many, many tiny balls of yarn that I can't get rid of. I just can't throw away perfectly good hand-dyed yarn, so they go into a sweater. One other thing too is I actually, and this has not happened in a very, very long time, is I have purchased some yarn and other doodads. So the first thing, I went to Hippie Strings up in Grand Prairie, which, if you are ever up that way, is just the cutest little store. I had such a lovely time there, and it was a horrendous day. Like, it was awful, awful weather. So it was so nice to be so welcomed into that store. And I did find a couple of things. The first is I got this, the Knitting Barber, the original cords. So these are for putting your stitches on hold. What you can actually do is, it doesn't work very well with fingering weight yarn and sock yarn. So I was working on some socks while I was out there, and it just didn't work with fingering yarn, but it does work very well with DK and like the sweater that I'm working on here. So as long as you know that, it's great. Basically, when you want to put your stitches on hold, you just pop this little guy, because it's like a little hollow plastic tube. You just pop that little guy on there, and then you can slide all your stitches onto this cord and then just tie it off, or I don't know, you don't even really need to, they kind of like stick to it. So, and then your stitches are on hold, and you can And then when you want to put them back on, instead of having to go and like pick it up off a string, which is like, this is the greatest thing ever. You put it back on. Oh my goodness, why can't I do that? Put it back on, and then you can slide your stitches from your cord back onto your knitting needle. I let Georgia choose the color, and of course she chose the eye searing pink. But they have like tons of different colors. Oh yeah, they have a little picture of all the different colors on the back. So yeah, you can pick these up at Hippie Strings. I know other places have them as well. But yeah, there's all the colors there. Also, while I was there, I got some yarn. This one was a bit of an impulse. This is Ginger Snap Twist Fingering Zebra Effect in Gentle Mind. So it has, it's like 2-ply, and then every once in a while, one of the plies will be black. So I guess they got it and it was black and white, and then they dyed it with this pink and kind of bright orange. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with it yet. Probably eventually a pair of socks or something for Georgia, because she's still very into pink and things like that. I just thought it was fun, and I needed some more fun yarn. Not that I have boring yarn, but I've definitely depleted my fun yarn, because that's what Georgia likes. She likes all the really fun stuff, and it's fun to knit with, so I needed some more. And then I also got 3 of these guys, which is Farmer's Daughter Fibers. This is their Juicy DK. And it's kind of this white with browny gray speckles, just kind of very light. I don't know why I only got 3 skeins of it. I always do this. I'm thinking of a shawl or something for winter, because I've been using like my Courage shawl, which is a pattern by Shannon. Phone ran out of memory, and then I realized how boiling hot I was. Anyways, so I was showing you this yarn, and this yarn is beautiful. I also got this color to kind of go with it. And I think I'm gonna do a shawl with it, because as I think I was saying before, I always wear my Courage shawl by, it's a pattern by Shannon Cook, this beautiful kind of mosaic knit shawl in stripy colors. It's my absolute go-to every day. So I figured I probably needed another DK shawl at some point, so maybe this will be it. But then I was like, why didn't I buy enough for a sweater? Which is always what I do. I always underbuy, or have way too many and then don't know what to do with it. So yeah, this is what happens when I buy yarn with really no plan, is I don't really plan for anything. And then I don't have enough, which is also the case. So that's what I got from Hippie Strings. I also got some really cute pins from them, but they are somewhere. I also did an order from Fiber for the People, and I've been wanting to get some of her yarn for ages. I love the way that she dyes, and I got 3 skeins of DK. So I'm assuming this is also going to be a shawl. This is her Jupiter colorway, and this is just absolutely stunning. It's more black in person. It's blacky black, and then it has these bits that just have like gold and green and teal and purple and just muddy, lovely bits. And I think maybe I'll do something. I did buy these with the intention of a shawl too, so maybe I'll have a black one and a white one. That's not such a bad thing. But maybe with these little blips, I'll try and figure out a way to work those in as like flowers or something. I'll have to see what the yarn does when it's knit up, and kind of what it actually wants to do. But I think it's going to be very interesting and very fun. And even if it's just a plain stockinette something, I will have these little colors. I also got just 1 skein of same yarn, Jupiter colorway, in their sport weight. and that is going to become a pair of socks or something. I don't know. I really need to plan things a little better, I think. Oh, one more thing. They're sitting right here, so I'm just gonna grab them to show you. I ordered these from Dragon Strings, and these are color wheel pins. Now, I have a little collection of pins, but these ones I just loved so much because they show the color wheel. They spin, which I think is just so cool. So I got the white one and the black one because colors look different when you put them with black and when you put them with white. So I figured I needed to have both. And then I really like that they show complementary colors. In this one here, they show monochrome at the top here in this little window. And then if you look at these little it also has the triad colors, which I just think is so neat. I just like color wheels. So I had to get those as well. And I think that's it. I think that's kind of all the yarny stuff that I wanted to talk about. I have been doing a lot of stuff with Pip and Pin, and if you follow me or are part of our newsletter, you probably will know what it is. But if you don't, then the exciting things have been happening. Basically, I created a workshop. It's called Idea to Pattern, and it is a workshop for new and aspiring designers. So anyone who kind of has thought about knitwear design, like maybe you know how to knit and wanted some more information about it, or are starting your knitwear design career and there are gaps, because that's what I felt like when I first started designing, is that all the information is kind of available, but it's not easily accessible, and there's not a way, there just wasn't really anything that said, okay, like if this is what you want to do, here's all the things you need to know to do it. So I created a course. It's an 8-week course, and it goes from sketching and swatching and how to measure, like how to figure out what measurements you need your things to be. And I talk about grading. I talk about, what else do I talk about? Oh my goodness, how to publish your pattern. Literally everything from like the beginning, the inception of an idea in your head, how to get that into a knitwear design. And now you can't actually sign up for it right now because it is, I'm holding it twice a year. So our spring session is just kind of wrapping up now, but I wanted to give you a heads up because if this is something that you're interested in, definitely sign up for our newsletter, because we are going to open up another round of the workshop. Probably, I'm thinking late September. So once everyone I have kids. I know not everyone does, but I know like beginning of September is always really hectic for me. So I wanted to find a time that wasn't, that there weren't too many other distractions. So it's all video based, go at your own pace. So new kind of lessons are released every week, and they're pre-recorded, so you can watch them whenever you want to. And there's worksheets and all different kinds of stuff. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure you sign up for our newsletter. I'll make sure I put a link down below, because we'll be doing another round starting late September. I'm also, if you are kind of already a designer, I'm also using this summer to, I'm working on a course for marketing. So how to market your designs, how to get an email list, how to grow your social media, like as a knitwear designer from the perspective of me. I guess these are all things that I've had to do and had to learn how to do. So I'm kind of sharing all the information about everything. Hopefully, I'm hoping to have that one done in August. Summertime is, summertime with kids. I work from home, so getting dedicated time in the summer is a little bit trickier, but I have the bulk of it done. I just need to do some final things and get it all sorted and things like that. So yeah, I think I'm thinking August, hopefully mid-August. I wanted it to be in time, so you could start putting some of these things into practice before winter, before fall and the big knitting things pick up again in the fall. So wanted it to kind of be before then. So look out for that. Again, sign up for a newsletter because I will be sharing all the information there as well. And yeah, I think that is it for today. I'm really excited about all the things that I got to share with you. I am so happy to be back. I hope to do this again really soon. Thank you all for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye.